All right, everybody, what's going on? I am the one, the only, the WOOKIE, joined along by me by my misfit of bandits. I don't know why I called you all bandits. That seems wrong. I apologize. But we got Big Z.
Hey.
JR.
Hello, Keyforge community.
And Sheep.
So JR gets a name, and I just get to be an animal.
Well, okay, you want to be Dan today?
No.
I mean, you're Dan every day. Okay, here we go. We'll try take two. And Dan.
Thanks.
There we go. So
with enthusiasm.
All that for all that enthusiasm. Thanks, Dan. But a little bit of housekeeping to go through. We are going to get into spoilers eventually, so Z will put the obligatory spoiler warning out there when we get to that point. Number one, we have a little bit of housekeeping. I want to thank everybody who let me know that I suck at Keyforge podcasting by not actually uploading a podcast and just uploading Jump Around to the Spreaker feed. So thank you, everyone who let me know that.
But this is Wisconsin, and that is our song. So
it is
jump around.
And I didn't know, and it was just weird. I don't know what happened with the feed. I went back, redid it all over again, and second time was a charm. Number two, yes, I am aware one of the podcasts from about 2 weeks ago, for whatever reason, didn't air publicly. Not really sure why. Spreaker and there's something with our storage limit, and we've reached it. Because a fun fact, let's see, about 2 weeks ago now, we reached our 2-year anniversary. For those of you who didn't know, we started back on March 6th, 2018. I'm sorry, 2019, and now it's 2021, so that's 2 years. And we've run out of space, so now I got to start taking older episodes down, and I'll probably end up putting those on the Patreon feed if anybody wants to go back and listen to basically myself ramble for an hour and a half. But we can go into that. And then we've got to send a major thank you to Bandai. Believe this or not, who sent me some Digimon stuff. Don't know why. Didn't get an email. I'm still a little confused, but thank you, I guess. We do appreciate it. So maybe sometime in the next few weeks we can figure out this Digimon CCG and kind of go from there. I do have Dan and
Digimon is also not Keyforge.
Yes, it's
so
not.
I don't know about it.
I don't know what to do with them.
FFG, if you want to think about us, we're here. Yeah. Archon's Corner.
Yeah, I mean, Bandai clearly did. So I thought that was a little strange. And like I said, I don't know what to do with them. Maybe we'll give them away or something. We'll figure it out at some point in time.
I was ordering you sex toys, so I don't know how that showed up.
Yeah. No, you ordered me Digimon. I forget what this one's name is. I'm gonna look at it right now.
What do we do?
I don't know. That's not Keyforge.
Not Keyforge related. Right. But anyways, we had the KFPL. Z, you got some info for that for us.
Yeah, the season's still going on. You can check out games on the YouTube, but something really cool happened this week in the KFPL. One of our long-term listeners and Patreons, Sydney Steele, took down the Mad Lad Uglik this week. That's a crazy win for anyone in our event, because Uglik is one of the fiercest competitors in all of Keyforge right now. That's why we call him the Mad Lad. He not only qualified once for our league, he qualified twice. So congrats to Sydney. Great job on the win. Way to represent yourself and show everyone why you're here. And if that continues, hey, maybe we'll be celebrating an AC long-time listener going forward into Season 3 for one of our victories.
Very, very cool.
I wasn't able to beat him, so...
No, well, no one was surprised about that.
Thanks.
I do have to put it out there, though, Sydney, just because we have been going back and forth through Discord. It does mean that our grouping is a little bit sadder now. Since you have a win, you're no longer in our special group.
Oh, God.
So that group for everyone is those of us who can't win a game. So
Yeah, that's
anyone
not a group to aspire for.
Anyone out there in KFPL, we got a great group. We're consoling each other. We're helping each other. And you too one day can leave that group, just like our own Sydney.
Yes. There are 2 people in the Western Conference that does not have a win.
Why are you tweeting out Western Conference Z?
Well, I mean, how many people in the whole league? Let's see, 2, 4, 5, 7.
I'm shaking my head at you. I want you to know
9. There are 9 players that don't have a win yet. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
maybe that'll come along for each person in their own time. But that just shows you these are really great players.
Yeah.
There are no easy wins in the KFPL, and that's kind of how it should be. Just a tough place to be in and compete. You earn your spot, and you try to see what you can do. Maybe next season, Ewok.
Maybe next season. I'm there for you, buddy. I'm there for you.
Oh, actually, you're only 0-2. You could technically still win your bucket.
I am. I did have the bye to start, so a little unfortunate there. But it's a hard, rough start, and we'll see. I got a game tonight, so wish me all luck.
Now you know that you want your decks as a combo.
That will probably help me a little bit.
Yeah.
Or a lot of
it.
Yeah. So anyways, moving on from the KFPL, we do not really technically Keyforge related news, but we did get a little gaming news overall.
We all hope it will be.
We hope it will be Keyforge related, but Gen Con is set to, I guess, continue September 16th to the 19th, so not its normal August time, but a month later. And hopefully, does that mean possible Vault Tour for Keyforge?
Well, let's just talk about what we know, just the information that we have and what we have available. We know that December, January, we got an announcement from FFG saying that they hope to resume Vault Tours late in the year of 2021 and continue into 22, and then hopefully have Worlds in 22. That was that we'd already talked about on our cast earlier. But given the information that we had right then at that time in our country, the vaccination schedule was set to be like where we are right now, months down the road, and looking for a larger portion of the population vaccinated by like October. Whereas now, that same percentage of like possible vaccinated people is set in line to be done around June. So if that actually happens, I'm hoping that means larger events could come back sooner. But we haven't really talked about that internally.
Than September?
Sooner than I was thinking that we would have a November or December vault based on the original FFG correspondence. Like that's what it sounded like to me. We read through it a lot. We talked about it on our cast. Based on what's going on with vaccinations and Gen Con being scheduled for September, what are y'all thoughts? Because I'm thinking this could be a possibility.
Well, okay, so I read the article. I've read all kind of, because I saw it and thought this is not going to happen. Like, this is I don't want to call it fan fiction, but like somebody made this up and posted it. But it's,
you thought the Gen Con thing was fake?
Yeah, I thought the Gen Con coming back was like not a thing that existed.
For sure going to be a thing.
Yeah. Right. So I was kind of like, upon digging more, finally found out like, oh, this is like legit. This isn't just somebody
they will have a
on the internet.
Gen Con it is going to be limited attendance. They're talking about what that's going to look like. We won't know all of that data yet until
that's my next fear is limited attendance. So does that mean what does that mean? How big is it going to get? Are they going to be able to have tournaments? I mean, there really isn't much information other than it's happening and here's the dates.
So I guess for me, I'd like to go ahead and first start with the Gen Con announcement. And this can be found on the Gen Con's own website. It was their press release. And the short piece is Gen Con postpones 2021 convention to September, announces hybrid format with concurrent in-person and online experiences. So that's an important piece. Today we're announcing that we are postponing Gen Con 2021 as originally planned for August 5th through 8th in Indianapolis and announcing plans for a hybrid slate of concurrent in-person and online experiences. including the rescheduled Indy convention this September 16th through 19th, 2021. We believe this is the best approach both to meet the many challenges of the moment and to explore possibilities for the future. And they talk about the capped attendance in the second paragraph. By offering a flexible range of opportunities to participate, we hope to safely include the largest number of people in the Gen Con experience this year and adapt to conditions as they are in September, in person at Gen Con Indianapolis, with capped attendance in a modified format. From home through Gen Con online, events and live streaming, and at local game stores through pop-up Gen Con retail activations. So yes, we don't have a ton of information there. We know that it will have capped attendance. We know that it's going to be moved back to September 16th. Some people have responded in the larger gaming community, their frustrations about it being once school has got back in and how that will impact. I know Yom Kippur was a big piece that was talked about for all of our Jewish attendees and exhibitors. There are some things I think that, again, we're in a pandemic. So looking at the numbers as Z talked about, they're trying to do the best that they can. And I give Gen Con credit that they're trying to move forward with their convention, but doing it in a safe regard. I think that we have to, keep our eyes and ears open and listen. And then you're going to have to make the best decision as to your own health and the health of loved ones around you, whether you go in person, online. That's where I'm personally at this point.
I'll move it in my basement for 2 weeks if I can go play in a vault tour.
Yeah, like if there's a vault tour, I will be there. Pretty much everyone knows this. I'm going to, and especially for that time frame. My birthday is September 19th. That would be probably one of the coolest experiences in Keyforge that I've had yet to date. To be able to play in a vault tour on my birthday,
or win a vault tour on your birthday. How about that?
Yes, if you won a vault tour on your birthday, yes, that would obviously be the greatest birthday ever. But yeah, if there is a vault tour, I will be there. I am very hopeful there will be. I don't think the chances are high, so I'm not gonna tell people dude, there's gonna be a vault tour, blend or whatever. I am saying there is a chance. I'm saying there's somewhere between a 20 and 40% chance that FFG will look at that as a possible relaunching of their pretty large selling card game. Even at this point, decks are selling. They're about to sell boatloads of Dark Tidings, I'm sure. This could be a very good restart to a money-making asset for the company. And if they can in any way make it happen, I believe they will put effort into making it.
See, I feel, and just again reading the article, this is going to be less of a tournament scene, Gen Con anyways, and more of a swap meet type deal. Where the vendors can come in, Gen Con can make their money off of, the vendors buying booths, yada yada, and kind of go from there. And maybe I could be wrong too. I mean, they might try to go full out, just with a much smaller, scaled down size.
I think some of that will depend on what the political landscape looks like in Indy, right? I know what Texas is. If this was in Texas, there would be a vault tour on top of a vault tour on top of a vault tour, and they would all be packed in there side by side. It's not in Texas. I have no idea what the state's political thing is right now for the COVID era. So I think that will have a lot to do with that. So we'll see. As I said, we don't actually have a lot of event details. We know it's hybrid. We know there will be a limited capacity. We know there will obviously be some kind of COVID-related protections. So yes, wait for more information to come. Let us all hope and sacrifice to whatever you need to do in the Crucible to allow it to happen. Which is basically donate to FFG. Buy more decks.
I will sacrifice a whole house of house logos to make.
I will burn a bunch of AOA decks.
That's not a sacrifice.
I think we should all burn our Heart of the Forest deck.
Yes.
Everyone
go out and burn a Heart of the Forest card. For everyone burned, there will be a 0.1% increase in chance that the vault will happen.
Or option 2, send all your heart decks to Ewok Jr.
Yeah.
Ewok Jr.
Yeah.
But only time will tell. It's just that point now where we don't know, and I guess we'll just have to wait for more information to come out. As far as I did get some messages on Facebook and Twitter asking about an AC meetup. Again, I'm not going to tell each member of AC what they can and can't do. That's going to be up to them. And again, once we get closer to September, I think we can more easily make that decision. JR is kind of in the same position I am. Am I personally ready to go out into the world in that kind of format again? And that's a decision each one of us has to make. So, will it happen? I'm not going to say yes, and I'm not going to say no. We'll cross that bridge when we get closer. All right. So, what do we got next on the agenda? Is it sport? No, we got some KFPL stuff to go through, and that sounds
just
like
a little
that's
bit of
right
promotion.
up Z's alley.
Yeah, just a little bit of promotion, and then we'll jump into spoilers. I already mentioned this. We're dead in the middle of season 2. We are currently rocking week 4. We're gonna do a little bit better. We've got some feedback about like people wanting to know where people are at. The site to see that's all public, but we need to promote it a little bit more. So we'll do better promoting that in the coming week. So people will have that information, and more importantly, the March 20th event is this Saturday. So I'm not sure when you're hearing this because you're listening via podcast. But if it's not there yet, sign up. It's either 75 SAS Cap Survival 2 decks or no restriction 2 deck survival. Separate events, takes place at the same time. The top 2 players in each event will make it into KFPL Season 3. This is a little tidbit that we started to spoil on one of our live games that we were streaming this week. Season 3 will not, I don't know the best way to say it. It's not going to be a sealed event, but you will be given a deck pool, so it will not be personally owned decks in it. So it'll be like a semi-sealed event, so it will not matter whether you have 90 plus SAS decks for 3 decks or some Archon thing. It's not going to be a pay-to-win format. So I think you might have made it into the wrong season, Ewok.
yeah, that very much is along the lines of where I need to be.
So if you're interested in playing high-level Keyforge, but are a little bit worried about your personal deck pool, Season 3 is going to take the personal deck pool element out of it. Because lots of people talk about how there are 3 major factors in Keyforge. It is skill, luck, and money. So this is going to come down.
Yeah, I wouldn't say money. I've bought a lot of decks and own not many good ones.
You're just buying from the wrong pool.
I must. I have to get some of those super French decks, or where I don't know where the good ones come from.
But yeah, so this takes the money factor off the table, and it's going to go straight to skill and luck. Luck will always be a part of any card game because it is a randomized thing. So yeah, that will be that. And starting on the March 20th event coming up on the Saturday, you can earn league points. Every event, monthly cash event you enter, you get 2 points. Every win for any event that you're in, you get 1 point. And at the end of our last chance qualifier, if you are not in Season 3, the top 8 people that are not already in Season 3 will get invited. We want to reward the loyalty of our fans and participants and kind of give that kind of vault point feel. I liked the concept of earning the points when I was going to the vault, so something that we're kind of missing in KFPL, and that rewards people for playing games, getting wins, and not dropping. So that's what we're looking for. So that starts.
Who goes
Saturday.
0-2 in a vault and just drops?
You had a former teammate that did that.
I know.
Quite a bit.
I know.
But anyway, so yeah, stay around, win some games, get some points, and I will try to find a fancy way to make the point board look cool after the event. No promises, but you will at least be able to see where you're ranked on that league point leaderboard next week.
All right, so 2 questions here, Z. Question number 1. And you don't have to answer it, but I'm very curious to see who is picking the decks for the deck pool.
I am.
They're going to be a sealed pool. So normally, what I've done in the past for all of our sealed events is I've chosen an arbitrary date on decks of Keyforge, and then I've had it sort by then, and then we just put them directly from buckets in chronological order as if they had been opened at a shop all that day. Follow?
I follow.
Okay.
But I think that's an important piece to be able to understand for
all of our
those who are
sealed
gonna
pools
listen.
have been generated that way. It's really easy to get that information from Nathan, who has the site, or from Mastervault. Actually, you can get it there too. You just go to a certain point of time reference, have it filter, download 1,000 decks, sort them chronologically, and put them into buckets of 3. And that is how we generate our pools. It is the fairest, most random way. The only decision we would have to make is if we want to allow heart or not. That is a big thing in a lot of our events. Because it is entirely random, I doubt we will go through the effort, because it would be a pain in my butt to then go back through and filter against heart for that date. So we probably will just be completely random. Oh, and I guess we're deciding on exactly how many lives you will have. But right now I want each set to be represented. So that we're leaning towards a 5-set, 5-deck survival. There would be no need for a top cut. You play until there really is one remaining person. It would take a little longer, but that would give us a little bit more time to assess between season 3 and a possible season 4, depending on whether, what live play looks like by then. So that's where we're thinking.
All right. You gave us a lot of information, and I appreciate that.
That was first heard here, because, like I said, we're not finalized on even the 4 or 5 lives at this point. I think we were going to try to 5, but we just need to do some math to see exactly how many weeks that would be. But I think it's doable.
Question 2 is a lot easier. You were talking about this website. So for anyone who's trying to be able to follow along with KFPL, can you plug that website for them?
Yeah, it's I made a bit.ly for it. 1 second while I pull that up. Made a bit.ly so you could remember it right. Now I can't actually remember it offhand. It's bit.ly/ then capital KFPL _ S2. If Jupe can put, if Wookie can put that in our notes, that would be great. That is where you can get all of the information. It is a public live link that is not. It was never meant to be hidden. We just didn't do a great job of advertising it, and we'll admit that. We do need to get that out. But everyone's record, stats from the league, what decks are winning what decks are getting struck. There's actually a lot of pretty cool information on that. Along with our media schedule.
Alrighty. So next thing I hear is the new AC event after Gauntlet. Is that Daniel?
Well, Dan, do you
we're
have
still
anything yet?
finalizing exactly what we want to do with that. Right now, we're just leaning towards a simple Vault Tour style, get 3 sealed decks, probably pick one and play and use the Store Championship kit.
Will it be Dark Tidings?
That's a good question. Depends when I schedule it.
Because Dark Tidings sealed sounds real fun. Anything other else sealed sounds less.
Yes, but anything else could be much cheaper.
That's true.
Like, there's these cheap French World Collide decks around.
That's
which I still have to
I'm talking like a 3-set sealed or a 3-deck sealed with prizes, and I could probably charge $15 a head to do it.
I think a lot of people are pretty excited about 3 decks for $15.
Yeah. Well, tell you what.
In an event with prizing.
Should we put this to a
little
vote on the Discord?
I think so, because Dark Tidings would probably be what, $30, $5, something like that.
Something like that, plus shipping.
Yeah, well, shipping's on them anyway. That's not.
No, it's going to be added into their cost. So, yeah, I think we'll put up a little straw poll or something in the chat. You guys can go vote on what options you want. I'm going to get straw poll up now and figure out the options, and then whatever wins is where we'll go. And obviously, dependent on what the decision is, might affect the time as well.
So for all of us thrifty friends out there, what would we be looking at? And I will put this out while Dan is thinking about it. FFG, we are actually taking this 3-deck survival because we are missing these Vault Tours. I think you've heard that a couple times, but it would be hint great to be able to see people and to participate in a Vault Tour again. All right, over to Sheep. What do you think would be realistic if we were going to run a Vault Tour with 3 decks sealed for Dark Tidings and prize support? Because you've been awesome about that.
Well, I mean, shouldn't be a problem to run a 3-deck sealed. The prizing, though, is what we have, right? I got store championship kits. I don't know. You still probably go back and find that video. We have Shadows kits. We have all kinds of stuff.
Is there another Dusk Runner?
Yeah, I have another Dusk Runner.
All right, maybe I was not clear. So if I'm looking 3 decks for 15, French World Squad,
he's looking for
3
a
deck for. Do you have a general idea?
It would probably be, depending on price point, it'd probably be $30 a head. Because, I mean, I don't have... So, the big thing with the Vault Tour is they have a far higher overhead for space, where my overhead for space is basically free, right? Like, there's a huge difference in cost for space, because we don't pay anything to TCO to use their space. So, that's why my event can be $30, where a sealed Vault Tour is going to be $45, because they got to pay and make money off the product, and then cover the cost of that, and cover the cost of all the TOs. Like, there's really a lot of cost in a Vault Tour.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll put a poll up for that and kind of go from there, depending on what the people want.
And they actually do make slightly less on sealed vault.
Yeah, probably.
Cars.
What's a sealed vault? Wasn't it 55?
It was 45.
Was it only 45?
Versus 30.
Oh. Wait, I thought regular vault was 4. I guess I'm forgetting everything.
It was 30 and 45. Yeah.
All right.
I went to a bunch.
So, is it spoiler time?
I think it is spoiler time.
All
so
right.
if you are not interested in spoilers, we love you for listening. But the next segment of our show is not for you. See you next week. It's not. But anyway.
So we're going to ask people for stories on how they suck, because we've apparently we quit sucking somewhere along the line here.
we learned from our own mistakes.
This week. Ewok just didn't play.
I haven't played yet.
A bit this week, and the rest of us were doing well. So, yes, if you're a listener and contact any of us from the show, send us a DM, send us an email, however you can reach out to us. If you want to share something that you think makes you suck at Keyforge, we won't say your name if you don't want us to. Just send that information to us, and your specific suck criterion might be added to our show.
Or if your name's ES Rainbow Wolf, we will definitely make fun of you. 100%. 100%.
I love you, Rainbow. I love you.
It's gonna happen. But anyways, we've given out the what do you call that? The warning. It's spoiler time for Sanctum. I'm actually kind of stoked about this Sanctum here now, kinda.
You would be.
I'm like half excited, half not, because I've looked at the evil twins thus far, and can this be a house? Can there just be, like, I get the anti-Sanctum house is supposed to be this.
I guess there is a mathematical scenario where you do get an evil twin deck, and you have a ton of evil twin creatures.
That's what I'm hoping for. Because I like the evil twins. I wish this whole house, like, I wish the Sanctum evil twins were actually just a whole house on their own. I think that'd be kind of fun. But let's get. Yeah.
Well, for all of our friends who've actually seen, because there is product that is out. Way to go, Australia, and way to go anyone that is Philippines. I mean, you guys are rocking it, so we really appreciate that. Are we noticing that the evil twins are actually showing up in the whole deck or in an individual house?
That's actually a question someone asked me that I don't know the answer of. I still don't know. I don't know if you get an evil deck, whether or not every card that can be evil is automatically. I don't know the answer.
That is my assumption of how it works, but I guess I've never seen or perused the deck list hard enough to know.
I also am under that assumption. I do assume if I get an Evil Twin deck and any of these 7 Sanctum dudes are in the deck, I will only have the evil version of it. Again, as we just said and pointed out, this is an entire assumption. There are people that know the answer to this. It's not us, because us being
Somebody
on the
posted
western side of the world
Yeah, we
don't
haven't
have
seen it yet.
access to buy these decks.
Our decks are on the bottom of the ocean. Weird story.
We're excited
So
about.
it turns out a bunch of the English decks that are showing up say printed in Germany.
Interesting.
Well,
No, I only asked because Wookie, you were really excited about Sanctum, but I'm not excited about all of the Evil Twins. So it almost like this would be one of those times where I'm like, I really want just Sanctum to have my Evil Twins and then have the other 2 houses where they don't. So I'm curious, is it going to be Evil Twins for all 3 houses? Is it going to be for one individual house? I think there's some really interesting questions.
Yeah, I'm like 99% sure when you get an Evil Twin deck, it's every card that has an Evil Twin is switched over to the Evil Twin.
That is my assumption as well, but again,
I have actually seen an Evil Twin deck list.
I was gonna say one was just posted on Facebook. And I'm not. Yeah, it looks like I don't know.
But it's not like there's an indicator on the
There
Evil
is
Twin
an
card to
indicator.
say that
There is.
these ones are Evil Twins.
But there is. I'll put the image up for you guys to see in the chat. But I believe the little red indicator is the Evil Twin. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like on the card they have a rarity symbol, and then I'm not sure what the other symbol to the right of that is.
Oh, so they're adding creature action.
Oh, is that what that is?
Symbol? Yep.
Okay.
So that's a new addition to the cards. But yeah, you're right. Those
that
pink
is the
circles
rarity.
are Evil Twin indicators.
Right. So there is Evil Twin indicators. Because how would you know?
Interestingly enough, that means in this deck that the audience can't see this, but we have a Sanctum Shadows Unfathomable deck, and it has Evil Twin symbols in the shadows for 5 of the creatures, and have an Evil Twin symbol in the Unfathomable for 3 of the creatures. There are no Evil Twin symbols in the Sanctum set. Now, I don't speak this language.
I don't know if there's a possibility of any of those being.
I don't think
Evil
those
Twins,
are.
And I don't think any of them are
creatures.
Well, that's actually pretty easy to find out.
But one thing I can say is the back of the Evil Twin cards look dope. Those are pretty cool.
Most of those creatures are reprints.
Yeah, none of those can be Evil Twins.
Yeah, no, that deck has all reprint creatures.
My other question is, I'm looking again at the base card, the deck list card. I'm guessing the blue key that he has here is covering up the QR code. So the QR code is much smaller than it used to be.
Yep, yeah. And in the upper right corner, that's correct. Because, the cards are the other direction.
Yeah. And the actual number part, it was printed in a bigger font. So that was it.
Yeah. I like the new card. I think, you can even see right on the bottom, it's got the little symbol, and then it says something, which I'm guessing means...
I think they should have always been printed this way. The way the second house was printed always annoyed me. There's been a couple times early on where I missed that there was more than one of a card because the first time it was printed was on the bottom and the second time it was printed was on the top. That was frustrating at times.
Yeah, and so I guess let's be super clear for everyone who's in podcast land and able to see. They actually turns the card that you're seeing for your Archon card. So your houses are now in 3 columns, and the actual card is turn versus being upright.
Yeah,
landscape. It's in landscape mode versus portrait.
You got it. So we're running short on time, so let's start getting through some Sanctum. Number 1, card 64 for those of you playing Spoiler Bingo at home is Almsmaster. 4 power, 1 armor human knight has deploy, and it says for each Almsmaster's neighbors, gain each of Almsmaster's neighbors gains destroyed, steal 1 ember.
I think this is a pretty good deployability because unlike the little Nif back from a long time ago, this comes in, they gain the destroyed effect. You can start killing them immediately. So this could actually be a decent trigger if you have a way to clear board. You have some Sanctum dudes that are already going to fight and die. You're getting the steal effect. You're doing damage. You're not trading your reap value. That's kind of a neat card. And Alms Master, this is the Evil Twin version. If we scroll a little bit, unfortunately, you have to like look somewhere else to find the rarity of the Evil Twins because you don't know. Wait, did I skip it? How did I miss it?
Nope. The
93.
good version 93. 4 power, 1 armor human knight, deploy taunt. Play each of director's neighbor. I'm guessing that means Alms Master's neighbors. Captures 1 because that's in either Chinese or.
So deploy on taunt. Taunt with deploy is pretty nice, and then captures 1, which is not on the actual taunter. Immediately removes 2. I think both. Like this is a rarity in most cases. I hate one and like the other.
Yeah.
I think both of these are actually fairly valuable. You obviously wouldn't want the evil version to have taunt giving the steal effect. So I think both are good. Hard to say which one's better. The steal on Destroy is probably better, but it is printed at uncommon. That's why I was trying to find the original.
So the steal one, though, really requires a lot more setup on your part because he's very easy to just kill him and then not kill his neighbors.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Archimedes in that regard.
That's a little bit of effort, but like bouncing Death Quirk, Drunk Shark, there's ways of I kill that first.
Bouncing Death Quirk with this sounds really good.
Oh yeah, if it's actually in your own deck, and it is in set, I think.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, there's definitely some combo value because you can also play him with your face shift and then BDQ for a lot. You could BDQ for a whole bunch.
Yeah, I was trying to see if like Grey Knight was in the set, and he is not.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate.
All right. Next up, another evil twin. This is Grey Augur. So you read that. I'll go find the rarity so we know.
Grey Augur, 3 power, 1 armor, human monk. Each of Grey Augur's neighbors gains Reap, gain 1 Ember, and exalt this creature.
Oh.
So is that to say his neighbors?
Yes, and it doesn't have deploy. So just the fact that it doesn't have deploy makes it a little harder to use because you could put it next to an active Sanctum guy and then do that, right? But then the person you play next to him will not be able to use this immediately. And he effectively makes his neighbors. What is the dino that does that? I can't remember his name.
Quester Jarda.
Yeah, he effectively makes its neighbors a Quester Jarda at 3 power, 1 armor. Interestingly enough, I think this probably ends up getting triggered more.
Yeah, because he's not an auto kill. He's not a target you have to auto kill.
Yeah, but I did actually put a lot. I don't know. I am very interested to see if people respect Grey Augur as much as they did respect Jarta. People did kind of like Jarta did generate quite a bit of hate from my experience playing it because I have a deck that has them.
It's going to be strange because so both the neighbors, they reap for 2 but exalt for 1, so you're still only netting 1. And then
you're still netting 2,
well, you're netting. You're really netting 1, but then you're going to give.
No, you go up 2, and then there's 1 for your opponent to take.
Right.
Or, as we have looked, there are cards in the set that let you move the amber around or take the amber off. So potentially.
All right, this is the Evil Twin. This is printed uncommon. So while we're at the Evil Twin, let's go ahead and look at the base card. The normal Grey Augur is a common creature, 3 power, 1 armor, still a human monk, and in this case, each of Grey Augur's neighbors gains fight gain. So they become Headhunter, which there is value in not giving up your reap to create a fight. This seems, I don't know.
As good.
I don't think it's as good. I definitely don't think it's as good. You're not gaining 2 instead of you're only getting 1 for your action instead of 2. I think there are decks that will like this one more, but I think
there are like
gameplay, I would rather have the evil version.
Like a
I'm
heavy.
sorry?
I was gonna say. I think there are like you gotta maybe like a double Joya deck. Maybe stuff like that, where you're not reaping, but you can still fight to gain number. I mean, we do have a lot of high-powered critters roaming around in Sanctum still. Don't forget. I mean, Lord Golgotha is in set. They have high power, high armor, and if you can fight to kill something plus gain a number, there are plenty of squishy logos creatures out there.
Too. Yeah, like there's a lot of things that could trigger off of this. I still like the Evil Twin version. So far, from what I'm seeing, the Evil Twins are beating the Sanctum by a little bit. Not by a bunch, like I've seen in some sets, by a little bit. All right, someone talk about Larry of the Lake. Go check out Rarity.
It's going to be common. I just searched. So Larry of the Lake, 3 power, 0 armor, human knight with a little tide icon. While the tide is high, Larry of the Lake gets +5 armor, and this is coming for our Evil Twin version. And then
this is some hot trash.
Yeah, it's not great.
This card sucks. This is just bad. Like
card 115 is your
regular Larry of the Lake.
You want to go ahead and shout that out, or you want me to read?
Larry the Lake. Is this the good one? I guess he's the good twin. 3 power, 0 armor, human knight. While the tide is high, each friendly creature gains 2 armor. I think that one actually might be better than regular Larry the Lake, or than Evil Twin Larry.
This card is amazing. I love this card. This is very frustrating for a lot of decks out there. Yes, a lot of decks have board wipes and they don't care about armor. But there are also a lot of decks that do care about dealing damage.
Yeah, there's a lot of Red Alert decks out there.
Yeah, there's Red Alerts, there's Gleeful Mayhem, there's, if you're playing Coda, there's stuff like Ammonia Clouds. Like, there is damage. There's Relentless Whispers, Nerve Blast. Like, Coda does deal damage. Making your opponent take 3 chains every single turn they want to deal damage is a very significant thing. We'll find them later. There's it might not be this cast, but I think at some point we will get to a very, very significant combo card with Larry the Lake. But just the fact that this guy gives all your guys 2 armor in a set that has some devastating creatures that if they're removed, they're not in this house. But if they aren't answered, you're just going to lose the game. Giving your entire battle line 2 armor is huge. I had a Triple Gray Monk deck one time. Every time they were out, it just became like a really frustrating situation for your opponent. And at 2 Larry of the Lakes, printed at common, that's 4 armor for their entire life.
Well, I'm not even thinking that. Okay, so we just talked about. Oh my goodness, I am drawing a blank on his name, and we just talked about him.
Grey Augur?
Yeah, Grey Augur, who then says fight. So at +2 armor, plus now you got fight triggers. So now you're taking literally no damage to gain Ember.
You're controlling the board through muscle, gaining Ember because you're not giving up your reap. Yeah, like
it's finally it's what Brobnar should have been for a long time, where they fight to either take away Ember or they fight to crush Ember. This is allowing you to fight to gain Ember to progress your board as opposed to like fighting for no real reason.
All right, Dan, what do we got next? This is a rare, by the way, I know.
We're on Lightsmith Clariol?
Mm-hmm.
So we're saying this is a rare. This is the Evil Twin version of the rare. 5 power, 0 armor angel that says action. You may swap the power and armor values of a creature. Oh, is this the one where...
All right, so at first this seems kind of weird and stupid, but then you think about it.
I dig it.
This action basically means
kill
any non-sanctum, non-soaring creature in the game.
Yeah. Like, exhaust to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any 0 armor creature, dead.
Yes. You are giving up your reap here, but this is... Most creatures have a drawback. What Whisper, you even had to pay an Amber to do this. No, you're not going to kill most Saurians. No, you're not going to kill most Sanctum creatures. But outside of those 2 houses, you're killing almost every creature in the game. Yes, I know there are armor elsewhere, but most of them don't have armor. This is a 5-power creature. In some cases, must be dealt with because some of the cards in this game are really good and they are on creatures. So I like this evil one. This is rare, so this is not going to like make or break a deck, but it is something I would love to see with the two other evils we've already seen.
Yep.
Did someone have the good version?
I'm actually looking for the good version and can't find them.
Oh, it's card 80. I found it.
Card 80.
Good version is 5 power, 2 armor, still an angel, rare. Before fight, you may switch her light power and armor for the remainder of the turn. So she can go from a 5 power 2 armor to a 2 power 5 armor. She does not have a fight effect. There's no intrinsic value to fighting at 2-5 versus 5-2. This card is trash. This is not good. Like, who cares if it's 5-2 or 2-5?
Yeah, not a real big fan of that one.
It's just a rare creature. This is like Brobnar level creature that does nothing. So if you want any, so far, even though Larry of the Lake is one of my favorite cards in Sanctum, and it's the non-evil version, I'm leaning hard towards, if it doesn't have Larry of the Lake, I want an evil deck. But if it has 5 Larrys of the Lake, I don't want it to be evil.
What did Larry ever do to you?
All right, what's next, guys?
We got, oh boy, I would take this one.
Seneschal
Sargassa.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 6 power, 0 armor, Spirit Knight. After a player raises the tide, Seneschal Sargassa captures 2. So nice little combo with Larry. If you want to do some damage this turn, you have to take the tide. If you want to take the tide, I also capture 2.
All right. I'm not sure what I think about this.
I think it's very okay.
This is a common card, so here's the good version, or the good guy version. 6 power, 2 armor, Spirit Knight. After a player raises the tide, a creature they control captures 2 from their opponent. So this is 2-sided. Every time a player raises the tide, one of their creatures captures 2. Good versus offset? Questionable. Probably bad versus onset? That's weird. And it's common. But I guess they both do that, right? After a player raises the tide. Oh, wait, no. So the evil version is just positive for you. Are you there?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so the evil version, no matter what, every time the tide changes, she's going to capture 2 from your opponent when you your card. The positive, like the good guy version, it's whoever raises the tide will gain benefit. So if I'm playing against not set 5, I want the good one. If I'm playing against set 5, I want evil one. Interesting.
So that's a matchup. That's a matchup.
Yeah,
question.
Very matchup dependent through duration of the game. I think the evil one is by far better. Yeah.
Anybody else? Thoughts?
Yeah, that's weird. Real weird.
JR?
I think it's perfectly fine. It doesn't jump out at me. The evil version I prefer for capturing. I control it versus the opposite side where it can be used against me. But it's not wowing me. There's too many other cards that I'm really impressed with.
We're gonna move on to what might be my favorite card from this set. I've had a favorite card ever since NARP. Because NARP low-key wins games. But Sir Beevor, 1 power, 5 armor, alien knight. And he just has poison. That's it. No, nothing too crazy. So I don't know what you guys mean.
He's fairly trash. Like that.
He does have poison though. Like he's kind of the same thing. Like he fights
a lot
and
of the
just kills
things
something.
you like super want to kill will have armor. I don't know.
And they're outside of that 1 power. Oh no,
like everyone's had that experience where they have like, what is it? Moon Cursor, and like it can't kill anyone on the other side because they all have the 1 armor or something. It's just frustrating. Yeah, it's not a great card. I, however, do like the good guy version. It's card 119 creature. It's common, so both of these cards are common. Sir Bever, 1 power, 5 armor, still an alien knight. It has taunt. I'll take a 1 power, 5 armor dude on taunt in any deck I have every day of the week.
I mean, he's no staunch knight, but
I would rather Sir Bever than Staunch Knight for sure. A 5
Staunch
armor
Knight.
taunt
That's not who I'm thinking of.
is something that I can get
Yeah.
behind because you often have dudes in all good decks that you want protected, and this is a lot of protection.
A lot of taunt in.
Yeah, that's
Sanctum
the second
thus far.
taunt we saw on common, I think. Yeah, the other one was common as
And
well.
there's more to come too, which is crazy.
All right. Yeah, what's next? You with it?
Oh, I'm losing Windows.
I got it.
Losing
Set-
Windows.
Card 70, Urian the Circumspect. 3 power, 1 armor, human knight. Reap, your opponent loses amber equal to Urian the Circumspect's armor.
Ooh, I dig that. I kind of dig that a lot. You get a couple Larrys in there.
Oh, is this the evil twin of the card we care about?
This is the
yes.
evil twin.
This is the evil twin, yes.
Reap, your opponent loses amber equal to Urian Circumspect's armor. And now, actually, you said something about the Larry, right? Like,
Yeah, Larry the Lake.
good Larry
high, plus
can't
2.
be with this card because the good Larry is good and not.
Oh, so if it's evil, everything in that house has
That
to be
is
evil?
what we are thinking based on the card we saw.
Okay.
So this Urian cannot ever be
With regular
it can't
Regular
ever
Larry.
have Larry of the Lake armor.
Oh,
That's-
then never mind. He becomes a whole
There
lot less
are
cool.
quite a few cards. There's a few cards over in Star Alliance that can.
Yeah, there's some
hand out armor,
upgrades
too.
you can get that can bump your armor, but you cannot have the shenanigan Larry of the Lake armor bump here. But if we look at the good version, which really is the good version,
123.
card 123 is Urian the Circumspect, still 3 power, 1 armor, still a human knight. Now you have Reap. Gain an amber equal to the amount of Urian the Circumspect's armor. It's already at 1. So in my opinion, without any shenanigan combinations or synergies, it is better than a Do Fairy, because you've got a 3 power, 1 armor dude that reaps for 2 amber. You throw in Larry of the Lakes in your at common that you can play on turn and make his armor 3, 5, 7, 9, however many, based on how many Larry of the Lakes you have in your deck. You're now reaping for 3, 5, 7, or 9.
And shoulder armor's back in set too.
Shoulder armor is here. That's also there. Wasn't there one more upgrade? Maybe not.
I don't know if it was in
No.
Sanctum.
No, I don't. Oh, Seraphic armor. So between Seraphic armor, shoulder armor, Larry of the Lake, this simple common card, Larry of the Lake and Urian are both printed at common. Could be, I just have this guy on the field, you didn't address him, now I'm going to start my turn, armor him up, and reap for a key.
Well, these aren't exactly. I mean, he's right outside of that easy to address range.
Yeah, that's what there's a huge difference between 2 and 3 power. There's an even bigger difference between 3 and 4 power.
And then if you have Larrys too,
yeah.
Now you have, if you have a double Larry, let's just, in theory, you got double Larry. So now
3, 5,
you have 3. It's each friendly creature, so he even attacks himself. So now you have a 3 power, 4 armor. So in essence, a 7 power creature. 2 7 power Larrys running around. These are getting tougher and tougher and tougher to address without just clearing the board.
Yeah, I think the Sanctum in this set, it is you better have real destruction. It can't be damage based. That or you're taking a ton of chains. They can't always choose to take the chains, but we've already talked about this a little bit.
I think we see why there's not a ton of ward in this set.
Yes.
Because could you imagine this Sanctum running around with just a boatload of ward? No bueno.
Here's my shield and my magic shield. Good luck.
Yeah.
But that is all 7 evil twins, so no more duplicating cards at this point. Yep. So who wants to go forward into the non-evil stuff?
We will go Orpheal, Seas Chosen. 3 power, 0 armor, human monk. While the tide is high, Orpheal, Seas Chosen, gain skirmish and fight, gain 2 ember.
So it's a
Dark Fairy.
Dark Fairy plus 1?
Yeah.
I mean,
plus 1, yeah.
Dark Fairy doesn't really make me sad. He doesn't make me happy.
No.
I would be way
happier with this card if Grey Rider was in. But
No Grey Rider. I already said that. Grey Rider's out.
yeah, I know. I was just saying, like, I would be more excited if Grey Rider did exist in set. It doesn't, so I'm less excited.
But her plus a couple Larrys?
I'll take the other one. I'd rather reap for Amber than fight for Amber.
Yes, I'd rather reap for 10.
Okay. I mean, I would rather too, but I mean, this isn't a bad choice too.
At least it's not some junky two-sided effect, and when they take it away, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
We do, however, believe it is twinned with the following card. Our next card is card 72, has a special rarity called Orphean Lands Chosen. The first one was called Orpheal Seas Chosen. I believe they are linked. It's a 3-power human monk. While the tide is low, Orphean Lands Chosen gains +3 armor and reap capture 2.
Ooh.
There are very few cards in this game that you have a positive for the tide being low. This is one of them. Actually, it might be like just one per house or something. I don't even know if it is one per house. It's very, very rare. Very, very few. So this is one of the very few cards. The tide is low. The interesting thing enough here is if you're playing against offset, the tide is probably going to be high for you most of the time.
Yeah.
So this card, I think,
I don't know, but if you're playing
really
offset
bad.
and like you have Larry staring at you, you have. I mean, we talked about a ton of cards in.
That's true.
In logos that
yeah.
if you take the tide away from them, like it becomes a thing. Like they're gonna have to take.
We
the
already
tide.
went through all of logos. Out of all of the houses, I think we haven't spoiled anything other than logos. Logos needs the tide the least as far as their things still work.
Yeah,
like their action cards, they just do what they do 90% of the time.
But there's other cards in set that like you're gonna want to take the tide away from your opponent.
I don't think that. I mean, so it's 3 chains. I spend 3 chains to take the tide away from you, which potentially, if you have some on high effects that actually affect my turn, like this or something like this, where the creatures have more power or more armor, and I need to kill you. Yeah. But otherwise, I'm taking the tide away. But that doesn't stop you from just taking the tide. Yeah. So basically, we're just adding chains to both decks.
Yes.
Right? To keep swapping chains. Because you can't
most
actually
of the time when you're like
take the tide away from me.
Yeah, well, not really. The only time it would be is if it was like a start of turn effect. There are some start of turn tide effects you can turn off by taking the tide from me.
And there are quite a few effects where you don't want to take the tide away from me because good things happen when the tide changes.
Yes. Specifically, which we already talked about, like the Seneschal. If the tide changes, there's a bonus there. If they have enough of those things uncommon, you kind of want it to stay as static as possible.
I mean, unless you have a way to shed chains faster, which there's nothing really out there. Punctuated equilibrium, sort of. One chain. I don't see old sets taking the tide away that often because it's too costly.
Well, this is off topic, but one of the things that I always wanted Sanctum to have when we originally saw Binding Irons for their first time, we even talked about it on this show, is when we first saw Binding Irons spoiled, was my hope that like Sanctum would have the opposite card, like Shed 3 Chain, and that's all it did. Like I was hoping that Sanctum would have a way to like artificially remove chains, but they never got that. But something I still want to see one day is a house that can actually like manipulate your own chains.
Your chains.
Better. Yeah.
I was hoping Sanctum would eventually get some of that, where they would have, they would eventually have a card. Maybe it's in the works. I don't know. For whenever your opponent steals or something like that, like they would give chains to their opponent. Like, you want to steal an ember from me? Gain a chain.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I can see a terrible card where it's like dump all your amber for each amber lost, lose a chain.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it would have to have like an action that could give you chains and then another action to shed chains to actually like guarantee you would have some way to use chains. But still, it's something I was hoping that Sanctum would get one day. Either way, slightly off topic.
Yeah, next card confuses me. Aja the Inconspicuous, 3 power, 0 armor human monk. While Aja the never mind, it confuses me a lot less. While Aja the Inconspicuous is not on a flank, it cannot be dealt damage.
Be slightly better if it was deploy. It doesn't have deploy, so it still should be easy to cover up.
It had more than 3 freaking power.
I don't like cards like this.
Isn't this like 3 power skirmish that can ignore hazardous. Like this.
I mean,
this is
at
awful.
best, it's just a creature that can reap. It does nothing else. It does not have taunt. Ardent Hero had a very similar thing.
Yeah.
It was just way better because it did have taunt. This is like a crappy version of Ardent Hero that doesn't actually add value to your battle line. So not a fan. Super glad it is printed on rare. Don't ever want to see it in a deck.
Yeah.
It might be a nice
also,
place to
like,
stash Ember if you have a nice long battle line, but
I think it should have become whatever that other term they use, the invulnerable term.
Yeah.
Like, basically, it should have turned into a ghost form.
Yeah.
gotcha.
That would be something, like, because then you could stack upgrades on it that could potentially make it valuable. But in this situation, it just doesn't
Yeah,
have
because this thing can still be bounced. It can still be direct fired. Or, like...
Yeah, I mean, it can still be
Destroy
implosion, gateway, all the normal things you're answering.
All right, let's talk about something better. Hopefully.
All right,
go ahead.
Avenging Aura. Pip of Ember every time you play it. Play. Each friendly creature gains Assault X for the rest of the turn, where X is the number of keys your opponent has forged.
So at best,
okay, let's talk about something else that might be better.
All right.
Your guys get Assault, so what next?
All right, Charge. Pip of Ember every time you play it. It is a reprint. So we'll move on from rare. Dry the River.
Here we go.
It is an artifact power. Each creature gains. While the tide is low, this creature cannot reap.
Now, this is a card that will force them to raise the tide offset.
Oh, man. Talk about crushing someone that is offset. If you're playing a set 5 deck that has all of the commons that raise the tide, you play this card, they will never get to reap in this one time in the entire game unless they pay 3 chains to take the tide, and then you just take it back on your turn with your action.
3 chains to reap, sir.
You know what this is also kind of nice with? And in set for all the creatures that have fight gain 2 Ember. Or fight gain Ember abilities.
Oh, when you're playing against that?
Because now, Dried River, I don't need the tide anymore. I can just fight you.
Yeah.
To gain my Ember.
Your opponents will be real happy if they have the Dodgers and the Umbras and the Bat Drones at that point in time because they're not. Yeah, this is a real devastating card. It is printed at rare, so we're not going to see a lot of them. But this card is going to have an effect across that play in almost every deck it's in. We talked about this really early already. It's going to be harder and harder for low efficiency decks to compete with set 5. They're already not getting the cards per turn that a high efficiency deck is. And then if you play a card like this, you basically have to decide, get even slower in your deck play, card play, or never reap again. What? It's going to be very, very interesting.
But card number 77 is Epic Quest. We already know what Epic Quest does. It is a reprint from Coda. Moving on to a harmonic ritual. Harmonic ritual.
Harmonic.
Gain a Pip of Ember every time you play it. Choose a friendly creature. If the left neighbor shares a house with it, gain 1 and repeat this effect on that creature.
I think this is a really fun card. I think it's very rare that this is going to be more Amber than Virtuous Works. But what's super important is Infernus is only going to make you lose 1.
Yeah.
How many times does this repeat now? Because they did the repeat rules a little bit?
It repeats indefinitely for this.
I was going to say for this it would repeat indefinitely because the only thing they did to bait and switch was it only repeated once.
If it's your first turn, you have 5 Sanctum creatures in this card. You're going to play it. You're going to gain 4 Amber.
Mm-hmm.
5 because of the pip on the card.
Yep.
5 Amber because of the pip on the card. So
yes,
that is how it works. I think it is a very good card. It is unfortunately printed on rare. I would have loved to have had this at uncommon.
When the hell did Sanctum become a burst house? Jesus.
I mean, it's always had Virtuous Works or something like it.
Yeah. Well, they got another card like Virtuous Works in set.
Yeah, they do.
Time round. So, I mean, that's
so this time it actually kind of has 2 Virtuous Works. I think this card is better because of how Infernus isn't be popular forever. I don't ever see that card not like losing its value based on what it does to the game, the way Keyforge is played. Cursive effects are very strong. Infernus just annihilates.
Mm-hmm.
Lady Lorena, actually, I have a couple decks with her in it. She is very fun. She's awesome. She is back. We already covered Light Plariel. Lord Golgotha is back. Mad Prophet Gizzleheart is the leader and is back.
Yeah.
Mighty Lance is back. Numquid the Fair is amazing.
And
he
he's
is back.
Yeah,
Orb
that
of Wonder.
card's worth noting because he is crazy. He's so crazy against ward decks.
Murders the wards. Really devastates set 3. I don't think we had Numquid the Fair in set 4.
Nope.
So her coming back is very significant to fight off some of the big boards from set 3. Orb of Wonder comes back from set 4. Round Table comes back from set 1. I was super excited about Round Table until I realized like almost all the creatures in set 5 are monks. So that was kind of annoying. There are more monks and priests and angels in set 5 than there are knights.
Are there really?
But there are still knights. There's just not as many.
Oh,
Round Table
counted.
and Epic Quest are bad? Or no, Epic Quest doesn't require knights. It just lets you archive.
Yeah,
well, we will talk about combos later. The way Epic Quest will end up getting used does not matter if you have knights in your deck. But it will fire. So Sanctum Guardian's back. Seraphic Armor is back. All right, someone else can have this. I went through some tough names already.
SGS Luminferous. Luminferous? I don't know. It's a approximate, but it is the Sanctum ship. And it says, action, exhaust up to 4 friendly Sanctum creatures. Stun and exalt a creature for each creature exhausted this way. This is okay if you have a way to clear their board, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, then you're not losing the Amber gain.
Basically, if your deck has the Fish House in it, I think this card is great because you will have ways to bounce their creatures or deal with them. If your deck does not have the Fish House, this is going to be a little underwhelming. Or I guess Logos Order too, because it does have Final Analysis as a board wipe. But like, obviously, Gateway to Dis is gone. A lot of like the instant kill stuff is gone. There are houses that can kill everything, but not as easily in set. But if you have certain cards in other houses, this is real good. But I actually do like this ship. Stun and Exalt. Stun has gone up in value quite a bit because of wards and stuff. If you have the right paired houses, because there's not a lot of destroy that's good in this house, but with the right pairing, this is one of the better ships.
Except it's still a ship, so it's still one turn to play it, plus have Sanctum guys that survive,
still
then come back.
Yep.
It is still a bad card.
It's, not great.
Alrighty, who do we got next? JR, you want to go through the next couple of cards for us?
Sure. Card number 90 is Corpulent Kali, or Corpulent Kala, and this is 7 power, 0 armor human with the play effect. Capture all your opponent's amber, deal 1 to Corpulent for each amber on it, and it is a rare creature. Thoughts?
Interesting. So if it's a 7 power creature,
yep.
Interestingly enough, if you have the Larrys out, you could capture a whole lot and live, potentially take no damage. I think I like this because of a card we're going to get to that's a reprint. I do like the way this is capturing, because it can potentially capture way more than 7 and still live with armor.
Yep. So he's almost as good as Anthony.
I think it could be better than.
It has the
because of the house that is in.
It has the ability to be better than Anthony, but
for sure. Yes.
Yeah, right. Straight card by itself, I think it has some weaknesses, which is nice. It's a rare too, so we'll have to see how many you're going to show up with.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually want a bunch of.
So we're going to kind of go through the next few cards on rapid. The next 2 rows of cards, anyways, because we have Vault Keeper, which is a reprint. Bring Low, which is a reprint. Barrister Joya, Joya, which is a reprint. We already went through Alms Master. So the final card we're going to go through today, at least, is Trial by Water.
Okay.
Pip
Trial by Water is has a pip. Play, reset the tide. Players cannot raise the tide until the start of your next turn. So this makes the tide neutral, so it will not be low or high for either player. It's a rare card. I'm glad it's rare. We are used to seeing rare cards that are very set specific. This is one of those that is set specific. I think it doesn't do much against offset. In fact, I think if you're playing offset, you wouldn't want it much at all. But yeah, that is it for today. That's going to leave us finishing the other half of Symptom on the flip.
Well, Ewok brings up a good point. There's not a ton of new stuff, so let's kind of just push through because we have next up Doorstep to Heaven, which is a reprint, Gatekeeper, which is a reprint, Gorm of Ohm, which is a reprint. So the only new card in this is first or last. Play, choose one, purge one creature. Choose one. Purge each creature with the highest power, or purge each creature with the lowest power.
I think this is pretty powerful because this is a numbers thing. You're the active player. You get to manipulate the battle lines first. Purge is a great effect. If your opponent's not paying attention, they could potentially get a lot of creatures purged in certain situations that they could have avoided.
Infernus. Well, I mean, what?
Sorry. You wanted those Ronnies to be replayed all game?
Yeah, not
sorry.
Happening.
Purging lowest creature, all 3 Ronnies are gone.
Yeah, and 2 is a pretty common number for some pretty powerful cards. So
yes,
we've already gone through the Grey Augur. Hedron's Wall is a reprint. We have this is just it says dog ? So I'm not sure if it's actually named dog, but he is a 6 power 0 armor beast. After one of dog's neighbors is dealt damage, ready dog. That can be powerful.
I think this is an interesting card. I was talking to the Nathan, Dex of Keyforge creator, about this. I think it has potential to actually have a decent reap value on play. It really depends on how the deck's forming up.
He needs help.
So we'll see. Yeah, he definitely needs help to be good.
If he was tagged with Grey Knight, that could be gross.
Grey Knight inset would have made a lot of things a little bit bonkers.
Yeah, but I like it. It's our first dog creature, I think.
Yes.
I mean, even though it's just a beast.
It's a beast, yeah. Honor or Glory is our next card 103. It's a play effect. There's a bunch of cards where you choose an effect in this set. This one's deal 3 to each flank creature, like Spike Trap, or deal 3 to each creature not on a flank, be like a 2-sided long fused mind. Very situational. Could be good, could be bad. It's 2-sided on both you and them, no matter which choice you make, though. If you have enough armor, you might not care no matter which one you pick, right? 2 Larrys, and it doesn't matter. So, it is uncommon.
Boy, Larry is going to play a vital role in this set.
Good old I Larry. Like Larry so much, it's enough that I would rather mostly have good decks if they are uncommon. But if they're evil decks, I definitely don't want Larry. The evil Larry is real bad.
Let's see, what do we got next row? Next row, Radiant Truth is a reprint. Shoulder Armor is a reprint. JR, tell me about Eternal Light.
Eternal Light's got 1 amber printed on it. Play a Sanctum creature from your discard piles if it had deploy, and it is an uncommon action. That's nice. It has the ability to go ahead and place a deploy. So you're deploying certain creatures.
So it's an exhume on a Sanctum creature, but it adds deploy. So not better than exhume, different though. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. Pretty cool combination with the stuff that captures amber, like Gatekeeper and the Corpulent Color. So that is actually some pretty good capture swing.
So that's pretty spicy for Sanctum.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I mean, you need to have Sanctum creature that's in your discard pile. That's going to be key. So early on, it's not going to help you. I think Exhume has a lot of power because it has flexibility across any house.
It does give like that almost like, remember when people would kill their Drumble or rise it to play the Drumble? Yeah. You could then do the same thing now with Gatekeeper. Like the Gatekeeper capture 3, they went up to whatever again. You kill your Gatekeeper, then you Eternal Light your Gatekeeper and capture it all again. It's pretty interesting stuff you can do here. All right. Red Hand Registry is our new law. 1 amber artifact uncommon. After amber is stolen from you, your opponent skips their forge a key step during their next turn.
That could be fun.
That's weird. I mean, Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
probably
dig
really, really good versus Coda.
Yeah,
right? Like that
very,
was-
very good versus Coda. How many, quad routine job decks are out of there? Like, I steal all your Ambler and
you're in a
forge a
field
key.
to take me off key. You get to skip your steps. You have to keep taking me off a key. You better find another way.
And not only that, I mean, think about that. That is a miasma. But how many decks are, gotta steal Ember
Quite a few.
to get you off a check?
Yeah.
A lot?
I mean, it's
Most?
a lot.
I mean,
Not so much
you-
in set 4, but before that, quite a bit.
before that, but yeah, okay, so you've stolen my Ember to get me off check. Yeah, but now you don't get to forge. So have a good day.
In lots of those games ago, I have 2 keys, you have 2 keys, you're battling back and forth. That would be a great card to have.
Yeah.
After that, we've got some reprints. We have General Salvador to bring back the enhanced captures. We have Cleansing Wave. That's pretty big. Bulwark. And then did we already go over the... No, we didn't.
We didn't go through
Badge
Badge Magus.
Yep.
4 power, 0 armor, human knight. Deploy. Ready and fight with each of Bad Magus' neighbors, one at a time.
That is on fight, not on play.
I'm sorry,
It
you're
is a
correct.
good-
Fight.
It is a good effect, but again, it being on fight and not on play is the difference between it being like Grey Rider good and not Grey Rider good. If this was on play, it'd be a great card. It's uncommon, it's on fight. It's okay, not terribly great.
And she looks like a space marine.
She does.
If I do have to say so myself.
Nice.
Right below that, we have Grand Melee. Common action. Destroy each creature that does not share a house with at least one of its neighbors.
Oof.
Very similar to like that Good of the Mini style card. Doesn't
Mhm.
even give Amber just like it. Makes people pay constant attention to their battle line. This will catch a lot of people off guard, just not paying attention to how they are setting up their board.
Then next after that, we've got Hammergram. Deal 3 damage to a creature and stun it.
It's fun. I wish it had a pip. It not having a pip kind of hurts. Fine.
It's still fun. I do like Heal or Harm, which is card 114. Choose one, fully heal a creature and gain 1, or ready and fight with a friendly creature.
Yeah, like if they have, Joya against you or the Tide thing against you.
Or you got a neighbor for dog, because then you can ready dog and then reap again or whatever.
Choices are fun. It's actually interesting that it gives you. It's a card that generates an Amber as an action that is immune to Infernus. That's something. Layered Lake already went over. Marshall Ewer.
Yep.
4 power, 2 armor. Spirit Knight. On play, this is what the cards I was talking about. Has play or fight effect, raise the tide. It's a common. You're raising the tide from hand. A lot of your decks are going to want as many of this stuff as possible to force them to deal with you. I mean, it's one of those that does that. And it's a 4 power, 2 armor reap machine that can raise the tide on fight leader. Definitely a common you want to see, no matter whether you're playing onset or offset. 2 or 3 of these are going to be fairly ideal in any deck.
Is it common? It is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, is it common or not? Because 2 or 3, we might be asking a lot here. But what do we got next, JR?
Shifting Battlefields has a printed Amber, and then with a play effect, move a friendly creature anywhere in your battle line. That creature captures 1. It's a nice action at common.
Yeah, gain a pip, capture 1.
Yep.
Move.
And then we're coming on to the final.
Well, it is important to note that leaders are still in the set. So, like, that's a thing.
Yeah, that is a thing. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say, I'm having a hard time determining whether this is good or not. Like, it just feels very meh.
Leaders still exist.
Yeah.
But that's it. No other thing.
What do we got next, JR? You were going, I'm sorry.
121. This is Strange Ordination, and it is an action at common that has 3 printed Amber. Tide effect, play only if the tide is high.
So, unplayable?
You can always make the tide. It is exactly Virtuous Works. There's no difference between this card and Virtuous Works, except you cannot play it unless the tide is high. I was kind of sad to see this. I was hoping for something that had no printed armor and then said play gain 3 amber to get around Infernus. That is what I wish this card would be.
I was going to say, because
is,
of Infernus, this card is damn near a deck with it. It's damn near unplayable.
And it's uncommon. Virtuous Works, I believe, was uncommon. So what is important is that we talked about Burst. We saw Cleansing Wave. We saw Harmonic. And we saw Strange Ordination. And then we already talked about the Reap Armor shenanigans. That is 4 different scenarios that are not hard to achieve that will burst Amber pretty hard. So if they don't have Infernus, like you could burst Amber in Sanctum while you have all this armor crap going on. I'm not going to quite say
or too much to protect, or there's other cards.
I'm never going to say it's like Coda Untamed level, but it will be very, very easy hit 6 Amber from 0 on turn 2 in this set.
This is the fastest I think I've ever seen Sanctum be able to gain Ember.
Because again, Virtuous Works was uncommon. But yeah, there are decks that have 2. There are even decks that have 3.
Well, yeah,
but there's going to be decks that have 5 of this card because it is uncommon. Believe me, Dave is going to be out there searching for a 5 Strange Ordination deck.
Weird, because he also owns a 5 Infernus deck. How creepy would that be?
If you have 5 of this card in your deck, and on your first turn of the game, you play 3 of them and have 9 Amber, you just beat a lot of people right there. They might have got lucky and drew into their TP or whatever their answer might be that they usually have archived late game. But if you generate 9 Amber on your first turn of the game, it's going to be pretty brutal.
But we've already talked about Urine, and Staunch Knight will be reprinted in this set. But the last card we're going to talk about today then is Taxing Journey. A friendly creature captures 1. Each of its neighbors that share a house with it also captures 1. You do get a pip of Ember every time you play it.
So this is kind of like the cards that what was the one from a long time ago in Sanctum? The one where you captured 2 for 1 Amber.
Terms of Redress?
Terms of Redress. It's a very similar to Terms of Redress. It's an action. Gives
it's
you an
a
Amber.
common. You're going to see it.
You're probably capturing 1 or 2. Most of the time, I bet you are capturing 2. There will be occasions where you capture 3, and that's about it. So, not bad.
Not bad, but this is the most excited I've been about Sanctum in a while.
And yeah, like now that we got through it real quick, the things that we did say, we saw a lot of capture. We saw that dude that can capture like up to 7 or more if he has armor. The fact that Doorstep exists in this set is huge. There is a ton of capture. There's tons of way to recur capture because of the weird Exhume thing. Doorstep being in your Sanctum deck is going to more than double the value of that Sanctum house. Kind of like Too Much to Protect did for Shadows in the sets where Bait and Switch got nerfed or whatever. So Doorstep plus all of this Amber push of your own. I think Sanctum is very viable. Sanctum's caught a lot of hate.
Very strong in this set.
I've always enjoyed playing it, but I did have to agree when it came down to it a lot of the times. It just didn't have the chops to do what you need to do in the game most of the time. I think that's about to change. And even like stuff like Orb of Wonder, like, oh, I need my combo. Boom, here it is. It's got all of the pieces. So let's see if it makes the decks go along with those.
And we'll go over Saurian next week, but some notable things in Saurian.
Saurian.
Faust is back. There's ways to move Ember around. That's all back.
We'll see.
There's stuff
less excited about next.
I'm not going to say they're as powerful as they were Worlds Collide, but I think them paired with Saurian paired with Sanctum could lead to some craziness.
We'll see. I'll save my comments for then. I think for me, there's exactly 1 card. If I have at least 2 of, I might not be sad that I have Saurian. But if I don't have 2 of those cards, I don't want.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's what I'll leave y'all with this week, and we will catch you next week.
Yep, we'll see y'all next week. I suppose we should go for final thoughts real quick. Z has none, clearly. And so then we'll just go to JR.
My final thoughts was Doorstep is great, and that you can forge the keys real fast with them.
Yep.
I think that we see FFG employees talking about how they like Sanctum, and they're always multiple sets ahead. So I'm glad to see that Sanctum is going to be playable. I can see why they would be excited about this, not necessarily from earlier. So that was kind of cool to actually see. So great job, Sanctum, actually being able to be played. I'm excited for Dark Tidings to be here. So keep forging those keys while we wait. And if you have access, congratulations, enjoy. They look great right now.
So that's going to do it for us this week. Hopefully I get this up sooner rather than later and I don't just play a song. But we'll see you guys all next week.